Hi, how's it going? Gil Robles here. I am back with another video. And on this video, which I think I'm going to title, if you're running your applications on minimal requirements, just don't. And that comes obviously with a story. I am using Rebelle right now, and Rebelle is a great program that I have not used as much as I would have liked to. I have used it in the past and I've made videos, but it has never been a pleasant experience because not because of the app, but because of my computer. Now the app requires a lot of what you might call a lot of power or usage from the PC, and since I had a PC that was kind of clunky, it was old, it was great at the time that I bought it, but for programs like this, I was running it on the minimal requirements for the program, and the results being that the program behaved kind of clunky. It slowed down the computer. It sometimes it acted funny, and it especially made it difficult when I tried to record while using the app. Now I was able to, but it has never been a pleasant experience. I liked. I was able to appreciate all this promise that this application had as far as the brushes and so forth, but I had never felt comfortable entirely using it because of the computer that I had. So when you have an app like this, now I fixed that problem, and as I said, this comes with a story. I fixed that problem, but what you might call it, but what was I going to say? I fixed the problem, but it took me a while. It took me a while, and to run a program like this. Now, just to give you a little background with the program itself, it has some very unique brushes. You can find it in other applications like Corel or some of these brushes anyway, and Art Rage. Especially with the brush that I'm using, which is the acrylic brush, where you can see the brush strokes. So it has a very impossible look to it, as far as the thick brush strokes and so forth. I like it that it also works well with the canvas background. You can choose different backgrounds for the brushes that you use, and whatever you feel looks good for your final image. But one of the great things is with this background is like the brushes behave the way it would. It really simulates using using the actual tools, if you were working traditionally. And I come from that background as far as working traditionally. I for years, I've worked from life as well as imagination and references and so forth. But I've worked from the model posing, from painting outdoors, from just the experience of having to work in a more classical way with traditional materials. And so I know what I want these brushes to behave like, and as well as choosing one of the things when I started using these digital graphics applications was that I wanted something that not only mimics the brushes, but mimics it cuts down the feel of thinking that I'm working in a digital environment, as far as the program is concerned. I would rather have something that's closer to the feel of working as the way that I'm used to. And so Rebelle fulfills that for me as far as that is concerned. And a lot of programs that I use do that as well. Now, like I said, there are other programs that do this, but as far as the brushes are concerned, either the brushes don't do it as well as Rebelle, or The application itself costs a lot more money than Rebelle does, which Rebelle I think is, I believe, I'm not sure, it's been a while, but I believe that the price of the program itself is around the $80 range. It's been a while since I purchased this. I'll leave a link below, and also as far as the price, I'll leave that information below too. But what you might call it, but it does it cheaper and better than other programs as far as the experience I have is concerned, and as far as not having to get too technical with the brush. The thing that I do the most with these brushes, I change the size. I may change the tip of the brush from a round to a flat, and so forth. Sometimes I'll change certain things like the pressure and whatever. But there's, as far as the menu is concerned, there's minimal things that I need to change to get the effects that I want on this brush. I'd rather have the experience, like I said, a lot closer to what the experience I have working with traditional media than getting the feel that I'm working with a digital program. This is my preference, and there's nothing wrong if you're feeling fine with working in a particular way. I'm just saying, from my experience, I want these graphics programs to be simple. I don't want it to be too technical, so that I can concentrate more on the drawing or the painting rather than concentrating on making this application do certain things. I'd rather experience as much as I can getting to the results that I want using these brushes rather than using filters and so forth. So that being said, Rebelle is a great program, but it requires a lot of computer power, and my poor computer just wasn't able to handle it. Like I said, especially when you're recording. I mean, there were times that I recorded and it was very, very clunky, and like I said, it wasn't a pleasant experience, but I got the job done. But it prevented me from using this program as much as I would have liked to. So today, as far as where I'm at with it, I just upgraded my computer not too long ago, thanks to the technical wizardry of my son, who helped me out with this. There's some few things that I had to change. Now, since I was running on the minimal requirements, this is what I had before. I had an i5 processor. I had 8 gigabats. That's an interesting way of saying it. 8 gigabytes of RAM. And I had a graphics card that was integrated into the motherboard, so you could only get so much out of it, right? So what I did was I went and I searched online with some help from my son, so that I made sure that I bought the right things for my computer. The trickier thing was the i7 processor, which I purchased online, and also an additional 8 gigabytes, okay, of RAM to boost up my computer as far as it can go. It won't do any more than 16 gigabytes. So my computer is at its max when it comes to that. If I want to get more than that, I would have to just purchase another computer. But that should service me as far as these graphics programs are concerned, unless they get so complicated, which it can happen, or where they require more from my computer. So I would have to again upgrade. But I believe that I am safe at least for another 10 years or so. I don't know. And NVIDIA, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, I bought a NVIDIA Series 10 graphics card. And the difference has been like night and day as far as being able to use this computer and being able to use this program. It has been terrific. One of the things is that the program works like it's supposed to. It it works well with also the it works well with also the recording software, and with my monitor, which is a which I didn't expect it to have a problem with anyway, because it worked before with the computer the way it was. As far as the computer being upgraded, it should work even better, which it does, because I'm able to put in a faster cable as far as connection to my monitor, and get better results. So everything is working fine. At the time, I had to make a few adjustments to like as far as the recording software, because of the new graphics card, so that I'm able to do a lot more or with it and so forth. But and there were other programs that I was running. The recording software also hiccup, because I needed to upgrade as far as my computer is concerned. It never really worked as well, and this is Premiere Pro, because one of the other upgrades is, of course, that I switched to Windows 10, which a lot of programs are running on are made to run on Windows 10, and not the former operating operating program on the computer. So it's running on Windows 10, and it's running on a better and faster computer, and I'm getting better results, and it's a pleasure to use this program where once it was difficult. So the thing that I would recommend, and that I would highly recommend, that if you are running these graphics programs on the minimal requirements on your computer, just don't. Just don't go to the hassle or whatever you think it is of upgrading your computer. It really wasn't that difficult. The most difficult part was the processor. Everything else was easy. I needed my son's help for putting the processor on. I was able to do the graphics card myself. I was able to do the RAM myself. So the only thing I would recommend is that when you do upgrade your computer, you check with your model and your manual on your computer, or online, your particular model computer, to make sure that you are buying parts that are compatible with your computer, whatever that computer may be. So I ran into a problem initially with purchasing the wrong processor. I mean, it was an i7 processor, but it was wrong for this particular computer. So I had no problem, and thankfully Amazon and the particular company that I purchased the processor from on Amazon, took it back with no problem, and I was able to not just get my money back, but find the right processor from the same company, and got it right away. But it would have still saved me more trouble if I had more carefully researched the proper processor for this computer. But that would have just saved me time, because obviously I got it, and my son helped me put it in. Like I said, the other ones were a lot easier to put in myself, and the results being that I am able to use this program without any hiccups, and it becomes a joy to use. And you feel a lot freer when that's the case. You feel like you can explore, you can think of what you can do. Now there are other brushes in this program which I have not touched on yet, that I need to explore with my upgraded computer, namely the watercolor brush, which is a great. I really don't see it done as well in any other applications, where most applications would have like a stamp for the watercolor brush. this program has a very very easy to use watercolor brush, where the software actually makes this makes the color drip and spread exactly as if as if you were working in watercolor. And also the paper simulation works on this as well, as far as watercolor paper and so forth. So it's another brush that obviously I'm going to make videos on and talk about in the future, but it's something else that I'm able to do having upgraded my computer, so I can run this program and other programs like it. So you see, now that I've fixed this computer and it's running well, you can see what I'm able to do with this program. I've been running it at regular speed so far. I'm going to speed it up in a little while to get to the end of this video, because that was really the point I wanted to make, and the reason why I made this video was the need to run programs as they should be run, beyond just not working on the minimal requirements, but doing it in a PC which far exceeds the requirements that it has, or it goes beyond the minimal, so that you can get the experience that you want. This is, like I said, a great program. You can see from right here how I'm working on it pretty much the way I would work on if I was using the traditional media. So I'm getting the results that I want. Now, with with some exceptions, like I would never use an eraser to like I'm using here to make some adjustments on acrylic painting, but that I'm fine with that. Ordinarily, I would just put in color for the background, and I'm able also, like I'm doing here, to move the image so that I can center it better onto my canvas without having to start the whole thing over again. Now, those are exceptions and shortcuts that I've accepted, but as far as carrying this out the way I normally would, for the most part, I'm using the program the way I normally would use the traditional materials. Here I'm changing the opacity on the layer. For me, this has the same effect as if I'm laying down some glazes on a painting, to either lighten the area underneath, or to make the transition from one area to the next, from the dark to the light and so forth, what people would call blending. Now see here, every now and then it goes through this where it freezes, and because it seems like the software has to say, listen, I just need to catch up, okay? And I'm fine with that, because it used to do it almost immediately as you start the program, the way I had it before. Here it just did it like I'm already almost 20 minutes into this painting, and that is the only time that it's done that. The computer says, hey, give me a minute, let me catch up here. But it does it much fewer times, and also it took 20 minutes before it did that. So like I said, I'm lowering the opacity, and that helps simulate glazing the way I would do it if I were working in traditional media. But okay, so I'm going to speed up this video, and then I will talk to you guys at the end of it. So here I am, and I'm coming close to the end of this video, and pretty much I got what I wanted out of this software, and the experience was a pleasant one, and it felt, it just felt good to use this software, especially after having purchased it, and you don't want to be limited. You purchase something, it wasn't that expensive, uh, especially compared to other software. But you don't want to be limited by your computer. And the only limitations I had were not my computer or the software, but my ability to use this to get the effects that I wanted. And, my understanding of the software so far. All in all, it was a great experience. Glad I upgraded my computer so that it would make using this software a great experience. And I would give that advice that if you purchase software and if you are running it on minimal requirements, you are not using it. You're not going to be able to use your software to the best of its capabilities or yours, because it would limit you. So, like I said, this is pretty much it. I'm going to. That's it. That's the finished painting, and I hope that that you take this video to heart. I really, why bother using a computer, or why bother purchasing software and putting it on a computer that won't fully exploit all the software's capabilities. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please press like if you click on like if you like this video, and if you want to support this channel, you can subscribe, as well as you can support my channel on Patreon. Now I also have, this is my quarantine sketchbook. I've been under quarantine because of the pandemic, and I put together a sketchbook of all the drawings and sketches that I've made so far. And obviously I'm well, not so obviously, it just depends on where you live. I'm still under quarantine, so there's going to be another volume, I guess, but this is available on Amazon. I'll leave the link below, and also it's available to my Patreon followers on Patreon if you want to join me there. All right, so until next video, I'll see you then. Bye bye.